This is Daryl Evans with Kings Vision at lakings.com with Kings Scout Tony Gasparini. Tony, another year has come upon us, another exciting draft. Tell us a little bit about this year and some of the players that you've had a look at. Not necessarily that the Kings will be able to get a chance at, but some of the kids that have really stood out this year.
You know what? It's a little different year this year, having it all in one day, which is going to change the dynamics of it a little bit. And in the past, you're able to go through the first round. Everyone goes back to the hotel, reevaluates, and take a look at what else is there. And this year, it's just going to be real quick and fast, hopefully fast. There's been a lot of good players that have come through, and I've been fortunate enough to see a lot of the guys that we're not going to have a chance at, but there's certainly some exciting young players coming into the league, and what we hope as a staff to have is a chance at a few of those guys that we value and that have a lot of the assets that we really appreciate as a staff and more so as an organization.
When you look at it from your standpoint as a scout, over the years that you've been involved in the business, where do you see the greatest growth as maybe an individual skill, skating, shooting, puck handling? Where do you see the greatest growth having come since you've started?
You know what? I think what's quite strange, I think they're getting bigger and stronger, and you're starting to see that it's quite exciting because you're starting to see kids from non-traditional areas. And with the growth of this game, you're starting to see kids from Florida, and we were fortunate enough to have a native Alabaman. I think that's Alabama. Yeah. We drafted someone from Alabama. You're starting to see a potential number one from Texas this year. You're starting to see kids from Arizona. And California has always had a solid history of producing players, but you're starting to see some of the other quote unquote non-traditional areas producing players, and that's the exciting thing. And like I said earlier, everyone's getting bigger and stronger.
And first and foremost, what are the things that jump out to you as a scout most? I mean, you mentioned the size thing, that seems to be a generalization, but does skating hit you first? Maybe hockey sense or those type of things? What jumps out at you?
You know what? Personally, for me, it's more so his natural feel and instincts, both with and without the puck, and that generally translates into puck touches. That generally translates into having an impact when that player is on the ice, whether he's making plays coming up through in transition or in the offensive zone or defensively. Those are the first things that I gravitate personally towards. In addition to the obvious ones, which are size and skating, and those are the physical attributes. The non-physical ones is what I try to look for, and we just kind of seem to gravitate towards the first thing that I notice about a player.
And is it a little different knowing that the Kings right now at this particular point don't have a pick in the first round, but you still have to be prepared for anything just in case you do get an opportunity to move up?
Well, one of the great things about working for Mike and Mark and ultimately Dean and Ron, that you are prepared and you're forced to be prepared. And, the staff has been together for a few years now, and we're fortunate enough that it's a small family and things go pretty smooth, and a lot of time and effort goes into preparing for the things that we may or may not think that would happen.
And as a group, like you say, you've been together now for a number of years. You all have a general sense as to what you're looking for out there. But how important is it for each guy, as yourself, to stress their input, what they feel, how to put that on the table?
You know what? That's when you're with a group and you understand each other and you respect each other's opinions, and when one of those people feels very strongly about a young man, that person or that said player is going to have the attributes that we want as a King, because those have been defined to us. Those are things that we've learned as a staff that have been passed to us by Dean and by Ron and so forth. So we have a very good understanding as a staff, and we don't have a big staff. There's only 7-8 guys in our staff, so we have a good feeling about what it takes to be a King, and I think that's the most important thing.
Well, tomorrow afternoon and evening should be an exciting time for yourself and for the organization. We on the outside looking in look forward to taking a look at the future Kings that are selected by you guys.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
This is Daryl Evans with Kings Vision at lakings.com with Kings Scout Tony Gasparini.